This is Malini. In this video, we shall discuss about what is a resistance, expression for resistance, temperature effects, types of resistors and special types of resistors. In the previous videos, we have discussed about voltage and current. By placing a voltage source across a circuit, we are forcing a current to flow through it. Now assume that we are connecting a voltage source across two circuits. This is circuit number 1 and a circuit number 2. We are connecting the same voltage source here. Let's assume that it is 12 volt voltage source. We are connecting a 12 volt battery across two circuits, circuit 1 and circuit 2. Now let's assume that a current of 3 amps is flowing through the circuit and a current of 4 amps is flowing through the circuit. Now what is the difference here? The voltage is the same. Though the same voltage is applied across both the circuits, this circuit flows a current of 3 amperes whereas this circuit has a current of 4 amperes. Now what makes this difference? This difference is due to resistance. Now what is a resistance? The resistance is the opposition offered by the circuit to the flow of electric current. The current is lesser in circuit 1 because it is offering more resistance to the flow of current than the circuit 2. Let's take an example. Assume that you have two paths to reach your destination. Let's assume that you are going to a college and we have two paths here. Both these paths have the same distance, but one path has so many speed breakers. We have only one speed breaker in this path. So which path we will be selecting? We will be preferring the second path more than the first path because the first path has large number of speed breakers when compared to the second path. So obviously we will be following the second path because it has lesser resistance. The same thing is happening here. The circuit 1 is offering more resistance, so the current is lesser, and circuit 2 is offering comparatively lesser resistance, so the current is comparatively larger. Now why is this opposition created? This opposition is created to the flow of electrons. That is, current is nothing but the flow of electrons, right? When the electrons are flowing in the electrical circuit, it constitutes the current. When the electron is trying to flow through the wire, what will happen? There will be ions, other electrons, and there will be neutral molecules. Everything will be present inside the conductor. Okay, so this electron has to pass through all these hindrances in order to reach the other side of the element. This ion, neutral molecules, other electrons are all hindrances or opposition to the flow of this electric current, and that opposition is nothing but the resistance. When this electron collides with other particles inside this conducting material, then it produces a friction which produces a heat energy, which is nothing but the heat dissipated when a conductor conducts an electric current. When this electron collides with the atoms and other ions in the material, it produces the friction, and that friction produces the heat loss, and that heat loss we are calling it to be the resistance loss. This resistance has a notation R, and the unit of resistance is ohm. And this is the symbol of resistance. Each material reacts differently to the flow of electric current. has a distinct atomic structure. That is, each material has different sets of free electrons. Similarly, each material has different ways in which the atoms are arranged in their atomic structure. Some will be having ions and some will have impurities. Everything affects the resistance of the material. Now the expression for this resistance is R is equal to rho L by A, where rho is the resistivity of the material. It depends on the material property, that is, it depends on the number of free electrons and it depends on atomic arrangement inside the material. So it is a property of the material. Next we have length L, that is the length of the material, and A is the area of cross section. That is, if we are considering a copper wire of length L and area of cross section A, the area of cross section is given by the formula pi r square, which is also equal to pi d square by 4. The SI unit for area of cross section is meter square and length is denoted in meters and resistivity of the material is denoted as ohm meter. However, while considering the size of the resistance and measuring everything in meters is very complicated, so usually in the laboratories we will be measuring them in centimeters. So the length can also be expressed in centimeters and area is expressed in centimeters square. Resistivity of the material can also be expressed in ohm centimeters. The resistance R of the material is directly proportional to its resistivity. Higher the resistivity, higher will be the resistance of the material, and it is also directly proportional to length. That means that by increasing the length, the resistance also increases, and it is inversely proportional to the area. With the increase in the area of cross section, the resistance decreases. Now let's compare the resistivity values of different materials. For copper, that is a conductor, the resistivity is 1.723 into 10 power minus 6 ohm centimeter. For germanium, which is a semiconductor, the resistivity is 50 ohm centimeter. And for all other insulators in general, it is of the range 10 power 15 ohm centimeter. So we can see how this resistivity values vary for conductors, semiconductors and insulators. This is the reason why conductors, semiconductors and insulators behave differently to the flow of electric current. Next, let's discuss about the temperature effects. Temperature has a significant effect on the resistance of conductors. We all know that conductors have large number of free electrons. Now, even if we are applying some heat, that is not going to increase the number of electrons considerably. But what will happen is, this heat increases unnecessary movements of ions, and because of this disturbances, the electron which is supposed to move smoothly inside this conductor is no longer moving smoothly, and this increases the resistance further. The conductors are said to have the positive temperature coefficient of resistance. That is, the resistance increases decreases with the increase in temperature. Next is semiconductors. Semiconductors only have very small number of electrons available for conduction. So when we apply an external heat, what will happen is more number of electrons will be generated inside the semiconductors. More electrons obviously means larger conductivity and lesser resistance. So semiconductors have a negative temperature coefficient of resistance. That is, the resistance value decreases with the increase in temperature. Same thing happens with the insulators as well. Insulators also do not have many free electrons for the conduction of electricity. Obviously, when we apply an external heat, it releases more electrons for conduction, and thus with the increase in heat, the resistance decreases or the conduction increases. So we can say that insulators and semiconductors have negative temperature coefficient of resistance. Next is inferred absolute temperature. We are considering a copper conductor. We know that copper is a very good conductor. It is a metal. So being a conductor, it has positive temperature coefficient of resistance, which means that its resistance increases with the increase in temperature. Now if we are plotting this resistance versus temperature curve, then the curve will be an almost straight line like this. Extending this curve with a straight line, this intersects the axis at a temperature. This temperature is called as the inferred absolute temperature, and the value of this temperature is minus 234.5 degrees. Now we are considering two values of temperatures, temperature T1 and the resistance corresponding to this temperature T1 is R1, and we are considering another one, temperature T2, and resistance corresponding to this temperature is taken as R2. By applying the law of similar triangles and simplifying, we will be having a relation 234.5 plus T1 divided by R1 is equal to 234.5 plus T2 divided by R2. This 234.5 is nothing but the inferred absolute temperature of copper. For every material, this inferred absolute temperature will be different. For example, for silver it is 243 and for gold it is 274. So by knowing this relation, we can easily calculate the value of resistance at various temperatures. Suppose if we know that copper wire has a resistance of 50 ohm at 20 degrees Celsius, and we are supposed to calculate the resistance at 100 degrees Celsius, then it is very easy using this formula. We just need to substitute R1 is equal to 50 and T1 is equal to 20, T2 is equal to 100, then we will get the value of the resistance R2 at 100 degrees Celsius. Now let's quickly solve this. 234.5 plus RT1 in this case is 20 divided by R1 will be 50 is equal to 234.5 plus 100 divided by R2. On solving this, we will get R2 is equal to 65.72 ohm. Now let's solve one more numerical based on this relation. If the resistance of the copper wire at freezing point is 30 ohm what is its resistance at minus 40 degrees Celsius. So this is our given data. At freezing point, the temperature T1 will be equal to 0 degrees. The resistance R1 given in the question is 30 ohm. We are supposed to calculate the resistance R2 at a temperature T2 is equal to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Now we know the relationship. The absolute temperature of copper is 234.5 degrees. The absolute temperature of copper is 234.5 degrees. We should remember this number. So the relationship will be 234.5 plus T1 divided by R1 will be equal to 234.5 plus T2 divided by R2. On substituting the known values, we have 234.5 plus 0 divided by 30 will be equal to 234.5 plus 40 divided by 234.5 minus 40 divided by R2. So the value of R2 on rearranging and simplification we will get 24.88 ohm. Next we are going to discuss about the temperature coefficient of resistance. Now what is temperature coefficient? Temperature coefficient is denoted by alpha, and this temperature coefficient alpha is a material property. How much is this material more vulnerable to the changes in temperature? Higher the value of alpha, higher will be the variation of resistance for the changes in temperature. Using this temperature coefficient of resistance, the resistance of the material can be calculated as the resistance R1 is equal to R0 into 1 plus alpha into T1 minus T0. Alpha is the temperature coefficient of resistance and its unit is given as ohm per degree Celsius per ohm, and it is usually measured at room temperature, which is 20 degrees Celsius. R0 is nothing but the resistance which is given by R0 is equal to rho L by A, which is calculated at 20 degrees Celsius, and T0 is the room temperature, which is 20 degrees Celsius, nominal room temperature. Suppose we are considering another temperature T2 which has a resistance R2, then the resistance R2 is given as R2 is equal to R0 into 1 plus alpha T2 minus T0. Dividing these two equations, we have R1 by R2 is equal to 1 plus alpha into delta T1 divided by 1 plus alpha into delta T2. These relations can be used for solving the numerical problems. Next we have types of resistors. Resistors are broadly categorized as fixed resistors and variable resistors. As the name indicates, the value of resistance is fixed at the time of manufacturing. Then they are called as fixed resistors. These fixed resistors are of various types such as carbon film resistors, which have a lower wattage rating, metal film resistors, which have comparatively which are of higher wattage ratings. Next we have metal oxide resistors, which are used for the highest wattage ratings. Then we have variable resistors. Variable resistors, as the name indicates, the resistance value can be varied. They may be of either 2-terminal or 3-terminal device. Based on the application, they can be called as the rheostat and the potentiometer. So rheostat is a device which is used as a variable resistance, and potentiometer is a variable resistance which is used for varying the voltage level in the application. So both are basically the same, and based on the application in which they are used, they may be called as a rheostat or a potentiometer. Next is conductance. Conductance is nothing but the reciprocal of resistance. 1 by resistance is called as conductance. The conductance is denoted by G. G is equal to 1 by R. We know that the unit of resistance is ohm. So the unit of conductance will be mho. So G can be calculated as G is equal to A by rho L. The devices which are used to measure the resistance are called as ohm meters. Next we have a few types of special resistors. That is, some resistors are specific to particular applications. Such resistors are thermistor, photoconductive cells and varistors. The thermistor, as its name indicates, is a device for which the resistance varies with the variation in temperature. Thermistors are made using the oxides of cobalt. Oxides of cobalt, nickel, strontium and manganese. And this is a symbol of a thermistor. Thermistors usually have a negative temperature coefficient of resistance, that is, the resistance decreases with the increase in temperature. Next we have a photoconductive cell. The photoconductive cell is a two-terminal semiconductor device whose terminal resistance is determined by the intensity of incident light. Now this is a symbol of a photoconductive cell. Since it is a semiconductor, it has a negative temperature coefficient of resistance. Next we have varistor. Varistors are voltage dependent nonlinear resistors used to suppress the high voltage transients. So these are all the types of special resistors. Thus we have discussed about a resistance, its symbol, unit, expression for resistance, temperature sensitivity of resistance, inferred absolute temperature, and various types of resistors and special resistors. The next video is about Ohm's law. Continue watching the next video. Thank you.